Stephen Morgan, in all respects, Pike County native Dan McNamee was your All-American teen. However, as you'll learn during this series, sometimes your destiny turns out to be nothing like what you expected it to be.
It's not a sin to get knocked down, it's a sin to stay down.
Bad things happen to good people, and what's important is what we do.
Regardless of the situation we're in, we've got to keep on keeping on, because there's people that are dependent on us, who are looking up to us.
At some point of our lives, we've all heard things like this. Sayings meant to comfort and inspire us in times of challenges. But there are some instances these mantras were never designed to mend. What happened to a 15-year-old boy on September 1st, 1995, on a small-town football field in West Virginia, was such an occasion.
Tough times don't last, tough people do. Dan McNamee, I found out's a tough person.
Daniel Reeves McNamee was born on November 8, 1979, in Pikeville, Kentucky. He was the youngest of 5 brothers. His father, Jerry, was a coal broker. His mother, Carolyn, a registered nurse. But before Dan could even walk, the McNamee name had become synonymous in the area with athletics.
When we moved here, we got him involved in sports to keep him active, and it just sort of took off from there.
And took off they did, winning multiple football state championships at Pikeville High School, excelling in baseball as well. Dan says he knew from his earliest memories it was a legacy he was destined to advance.
I don't remember ever not playing with a ball or having a ball in my hand or not having that feeling. It was always, I think I was born with it.
I remember from a young age, he was just kind of had a natural gift. He had something that you can't really coach.
I know that there would have been colleges standing in line to get a hold of him because he could play any sport as far as that goes. He just had that ability.
At age 10, Jerry's job required Dan and his family to move to Bridgeport, West Virginia. It was a new school, new faces. Not always easy for a young man to adjust to, but Dan had an ace up his sleeve.
First recess, we played kickball, and I was the last one picked. And after we played, the next day I was the first one picked. So that was good. That's how I bonded with him.
Kickball, of course, was only the beginning. By the time he was a high school freshman, Dan's baseball abilities caught the radar of a major league team.
He had a private tryout with the Atlanta Braves, and they actually expressed a lot of interest in Dan, and they told him they were going to continue to watch his career, and if he did well, they were interested in drafting him right out of high school.
The non-starters, number 53, Dan McNamee.
You would think one sport would be enough for a young man, but Dan lived for all sports, which is why in the summer of 1995, immediately after winning a baseball state championship, Dan was on the football field, under the guidance of a legendary coach, Wayne Jamison.
He was one of those young men that you kind of dream about getting, and you don't get a whole lot of them.
Coach Jamison almost never started sophomores, but 6'5", 230-pound Dan McNamee was different.
I'm just thinking, holy cow. And I wasn't sure whether Dan was a sophomore, junior, or senior. He looked more like a daggone senior, or maybe a senior in college. As big as he was, as stout as he was, and as intelligent as he was.
Which was why on September 1st of that year, Dan suited up for battle for the season opener against Magnolia High School. It was his first and last game of his career, and a day that changed everything.
We were dominating the game all the way through.
Dan had an interception, some good tackles, and then one bad tackle.
Our play was called Gun, Flanker, Fox.
I remember thinking that I had the play read, and I could have intercepted the pass, but I wanted to put a lick on him. I wanted to hit him hard.
The next thing you know is kaboom, wham.
And with that single sound, everything changed. Now, of course, this is only the beginning of Dan's story. Join us Tuesday at 6 as we look into his darkest hours.